are converting areas that are dominated by invasive plants to new patches of biodiverse native forests. Here in North America, or more specifically in Western Pennsylvania, the invasive plant that we deal with the most is the typical American lawn. These lawns that we have are not native. The lawn is made of mostly European and Asian varieties of grasses that are highly invasive. Even the ones that we name after places like Kentucky bluegrass is not a grass that's from Kentucky. It's from Europe, and then also like extending into Asia. So the way we shape our environment is very different than the way that the natural environment is shaped to grow trees. The natural environment for trees is, of course, a forest. And then what you find out in our residential areas is very different from the forest. There's often elements that are missing in our man-made environment that would be in a forest. Like, for example, the forest floor, which is so important because you have a covering of leaves which act like the mulch, and then you have a soft kind of composty, organic top coating before you get down into the soil layers, and this is full of rich nutrients and gives the forest the ability to rapidly absorb water. So about 70% of the rainfall is able to be absorbed into the forest floor with 30% runoff, versus on a turf lawn, which has a thick mat of grass, thatch, and then the thick roots that the grass has under it. Only about 5% of rainfall is able to be absorbed into your average lawn. So you have the forest floor as a missing element. Shade. When you go into the forest, obviously there's shade, and shade does a few things. Shade helps plants grow a little bit slower. So the small plants that are growing up in the shade have a slower rate than when they get the full amount of sun. What that does is it makes the wood more dense as they grow and makes it more impervious to insects and fungal attacks. And it makes it stronger for events like, storms or windfall or snow loads and things like that. So shade can be very helpful for that. And then also shade is very helpful to prevent the sun from reaching the forest floor and evaporating the water that falls there. Whereas here out in the open, you can imagine if when the rain falls and the sun hits the ground, that can evaporate the water very quickly. Beyond those things, something that's missing in a man-made environment are the companions for trees. We tend to have our trees dotted around in a man-made environment, where you could see in a forested environment, the trees are very close, even to the point of growing right next to each other, touching each other, or almost touching each other. Trees are social organisms. So they want to have their own counterparts around them. They want to have their family members. The mother trees want to have their offspring. And all these trees are working in tandem with each other to take energy from the sun, make food, enrich the soil, and then help create the environment that they can really all thrive in. The patch that we're going to work on here today is a way to reintroduce those elements back into the environment by mimicking the way that trees naturally regenerate. A patch can immediately return biodiversity to the area where it's planted. It can rapidly restore the ecosystem, and it counteracts the effects of climate change by regulating temperature and rainfall. And then beyond that, and maybe most importantly at this point in time, the patch has the ability to bring nature closer to home and help us reconnect with the natural world. Learning to recognize and embrace our connection to the natural world is an important step on our path to being able to live more sustainable lifestyles. I just want to thank you all for coming out here today to help us plant Dan and Kelly's patch and help them on their path to leading more sustainable lifestyles. I hope you can learn something today. I hope you have a good time and enjoy yourself, and you're all very welcome.